Hello, everybody, and welcome. Josh, living life alcohol free. I am excited to come to you today about some help that you can get, some information on what kind of alcohol groups there are, what kind of support groups there are for mental health. It's winter now, it's cold. I got my coat on. We're coming up into the holiday season. It's very triggering for a lot of people, not just for drinking, but just for anxiety and all kinds of things that crop up this time of year. So I wanted to share some information on what I found helpful, and what also might benefit you for your issues in alcohol, mental health, any kind of issues you might have. So we'll get to the alcohol parts first. So if you've tried AA and you don't like it, didn't work for me. I tried it a couple times over the years. It didn't really resonate with me. It just didn't feel right. So I found a group online, and I'll get to that a little bit later, but there's some alternatives that you can look into that may help you. So the first one I found, and these are all online, I found alcohol.org, and that's American Addiction Centers. There's a few groups on there. The first one that I'm familiar with somewhat is Smart Recovery. It's a non spiritual research based group. They avoid labels like alcoholic, so it can be kind of destigmatizing. I personally have a friend that I met in my first sober group that is pretty active in Smart now and has been for the last several months. And she really enjoys it, really enjoys the camaraderie, really enjoys giving back and helping people. She's about 3 years sober now, and so that is a benefit. I personally like that approach. I do like a little bit of spiritual. That's just my preference, but I like that they don't stigmatize a drinker, or if you're struggling with drug addiction, they don't really stigmatize it. Like AA, you're saying that, you're a slave to your addiction. And although that works for some people and that's okay, there are benefits to AA. I do see things that do work for people in AA, but for me, it just didn't work. But I want to get into another one, which is moderation management. And again, this is on alcohol.org. Moderation management, that was appealing to me at the beginning. I didn't really get too far into that, but I was in therapy. My therapist was familiar with moderation management, and that's just something that where if you want to be a drinker but you don't want to drink to oblivion like I did, like a lot of people do, moderation management might be something that would be interesting to you. It doesn't really require you to be completely abstinent. You can continue drinking. It says that you can do like a log for a short amount of time, for a month or two, and then after that you will do. So the log would probably be, your day to day drinking. How much are you drinking? What are you thinking? What's your process? So you can kind of analyze it, and then get to the point where it says after a little bit of time they're going to request that you do 30 days no drinking. And no doubt that is to start over again, start fresh, try to get to that 30 days. And maybe you won't want to continue drinking. I mean, that's what happened for me. I got to 30 days and I just was like, man, this feels a lot better. Why don't I do 60 days? Why don't I do 90 days? You don't have to quit drinking completely on this method, and that's fine too. Whatever helps you get to the point where if you're questioning your drinking or your drugs or whatever it is you're questioning, the point is that you're examining where you are in your situation, and that's important. And another few are Women for Sobriety, Life Ring, which is spiritual, and then SOS Alcoholism Program. These are all on alcohol.org, and these are just alternatives to Alcoholics Anonymous. If you are looking for mental health, I found a few websites that you can look on. It's Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. It's SAMHSA. And the phone number for them is 1-800-662 help, HELP. That's 1-800-662-4357. You can also text 988, and it's available 24/7, 365 days a year, English and Spanish, and it's free of charge. No insurance is required. If you're looking for another mental health, there's Mental Health America. That's mhanational.org. And there's support groups for in person and online on that. Well, these are just a few alternatives to AA. I personally used This Naked Mind. I read the book This Naked Mind by Annie Grace, How to Control Alcohol. That appealed to me because I didn't really want to quit drinking completely. I wanted to be able to moderate. I wanted to be able to have one or two and be done. When I got on there, I noticed a lot of people sober on that community. So sobriety ended up sticking for me. I just found living life alcohol free, drug free, whatever is better. I've been on that group pretty much ever since. I'm going on 5 years alcohol free, and I still get on there daily. I don't spend as much time on there as I used to. It's more or less for inspirational purposes at this point, but it's a non-stigmatizing approach where you don't necessarily call yourself an alcoholic or anything like that. If you have a relapse, they don't call it a relapse or a slip like a lot of people do. They call it a data point, where what did you learn when you were in your drinking session? What did you take away the next day from the day before when you drank? Those kinds of things. You look within and you take note, and it's a data point. Some people don't like that approach. I personally didn't need it. My therapist about it, like, if I have a relapse, is this going to be a problem? Or could I try drinking and see if I can moderate? And of course, he says, you can try it. I wouldn't really advise it because typically, if you drink like I did, they call it once the cucumber turns into the pickle can't go back to the cucumber. That really resonated with me because it's like, once you crossed over into addiction or using alcohol to cope, drugs to cope, it's hard to go back. It's hard to go back to where you just used it on a recreational basis. Just thinking off the top of my head, I kind of see going that way with marijuana, with the industry. Not to get too deep into that, but it started out as a medicinal thing, turned into recreational thing, turned into needing it to cope with social situations, needing it, and then becoming addicted to it and so forth. But it happens, and that's the way that it is. But This Naked Mind, it was a benefit to me. I have a group, Sobriety in the Storm. It's on Facebook. If none of that stuff works for you, come on over, join me. If you want to use it as like a supplement to another group, that would be great too. I'd be glad to have you. It's a private group. You just have to answer a few questions. You come on through, and yeah, you can come on in and join in. I post on there every day. I find it helpful. I have a handful of people, 14 to be exact at this point. We're doing a Burr Month challenge. It's September, October, November, and December, 121 days, alcohol free, just so that we can get through Halloween time, the fall time, the Thanksgiving and Christmas and holiday time, and go into 2025 on the top of our game. And I'm excited about this. And I hope that you take solace in the fact that you're here. You're looking to get help. We're almost into December already, but if you want to join that challenge, you're more than welcome to. Come on in. We'll just go back and forth, talk about whatever we have going on in our day-to-day lives. And it's just important to have that friendship, those friendships and that camaraderie, and help each other out, because it's hard to do this alone. I couldn't do it alone. I couldn't do it with willpower. I couldn't do it. I tried many, many years and it just didn't work that way. And I finally just came to terms with the fact that I'm going to need to use all the resources I can. And that's what I did. These resources will help you. Like I said, if you want to come on board on our group, come on in. So I'm glad you're here. Like and subscribe. I've got many, many videos that you can take a look at that might help you from the beginning of my sobriety to 30 days to 90 days. And yeah, come on aboard, and I'm glad you're here. And have a great sober day, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving.